I believe that's kind of where we left off. We talking about how, like, I believe metaphysics and like technology kind of go hand in hand. Maybe not hand in hand, but kind of technology has helped explain like metaphysical concepts that I learned.
You square those two kind of conflicting things.
Exactly, and that's kind of why I like it. Like, 'cause that's kind of why I like the like it would be like quantum physics and like technology because you can kind of give somebody like a reference point. Like, if you're trying to explain something maybe that's metaphysical, you may be able to be like, okay, so you know how like Wi-Fi works or something
It's
like that. To say like,
you're describing my life lately,
yeah,
my work schedule. Yeah, for sure.
ripping
I
and
mean,
running.
yeah, I mean, it's like everything. It's always a double-edged sword. You know, when you find, especially as a contract worker, I'm sure you can relate. It's like when things are good and you have a lot of work and you're busy. You count your blessings because you know you have a paycheck and you have some consistent income. But it's typically like when it rains it pours. It's like everything happens at once, and usually the hours are not so healthy. So it's just about like yeah, work, sleep, wake up, repeat. That sort of like high clip of working. It can be very intense instead of like something more casual.
Yeah. Now I understand. So like I've been trying to focus on that. So I feel like when you get caught in that like cycle of just like grind, it kind of like, at least for me myself, I kind of feel like I get burnt out. And so I've been trying to make sure like I go to the gym, like I take a jog, like I sit for a second and just breathe, and just calm myself. Because I feel like we just keep going and keep going. It's like next thing after next thing after next thing. You just never take a second, like take a break and just think, and just like, okay, I need to do this. So I just need to breathe for a second. Like, so yeah, I'm trying to make sure I focus on that for sure and not get like overwhelmed trying to take on more things and more things. So
Do you get it? Because I I lived in Oakland for a few years. Actually, I never lived in LA, but one of my favorite things to do because I had this just insufferable tech job. I needed to pay off all my student loans when I got out of school. So I just took this like just ridiculous job that paid insane salary that didn't make any sense. But I was like, oh, okay, I'll do it for a year or something, until I have enough to pay off my loans. But it was just such an intense job. I just like as soon as I got out of work, I would like bike to the Bay Hills and just go in the redwoods or like go for a hike or something. So I always had to like balance this incredible work with just being in my body or being in nature or something. I don't know if that's something you get into as well.
yeah, no, for sure. I've been trying to focus on that. It's like something I used to didn't do, but I've been trying to focus on it more like lately, for sure. Yes, indeed. I didn't know that. I didn't know you said you lived in the U.S. So that's what's up. Okay, so you went to school over here in the U.S.
Not only did I go to school here, I was born in the U.S. I'm fully American.
Oh, why was I? Why? Where was I getting Amsterdam? Or you live in Amsterdam?
Because I live in Amsterdam, it's a very
Yeah,
easy.
gotcha. Okay.
I also have an ambiguous last name, so I could be Italian, so it's not super clear.
All right. Yeah, the last name was like making me think. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, he must be somewhere else.
Yeah, he's from
Okay.
abroad. No, I was born in Massachusetts, like near Boston. So
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. You might have mentioned that. I don't know. We talked about it a lot last time. See, I might have.
easy for it to slip. But yeah, no, I lived all over in the U.S. I was in New York City for a few years, then the Bay Area, um, New Mexico, Chicago, Florida, um,
Yeah.
and then by then I had to take a break from the States, and that's why I moved abroad to go to school.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what's up. That's what's up. For sure. Indeed. Refreshing the memory here. We're getting back into it. So yeah.
Yeah. We have to have some sort of reintegration to wherever we left off or whatever we didn't cover, because I feel like we talked about a lot of very very sort of specific things, but we jumped around a lot. But anyway, yeah, I spent a lot of time in California, so when you talk about how it is there, how expensive it is, you know, the work culture, to, you know, just I can very much relate and understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, I believe. Sure.
Yeah.
I believe.
So yeah, I was very, I can't help but notice your T-shirt though.
Yeah.
I didn't know if that was like you just a perfect outfit for the interview, but what does this shirt mean?
Yeah. So yeah, it says spiritually high. It means I believe it's what I want to be, right? Is I want to be spiritually high. So, you know, every day I work on, you know, trying to increase the spiritual awareness, if you will. So yeah. So that's pretty much what it is. For sure. Yeah.
Is it something you people maybe ask you about, or is it because you were mentioning before that doesn't really come up in conversation? So is it usually something that you have to, maybe you're afraid to bring it up, or yeah, maybe the T-shirt is a way of like opening up the conversation in a way?
It's a good way to open up the conversation for sure. Like I definitely like want to talk about it with people. But yeah, you know, everybody is always open to that conversation, right? About, I believe that's kind of what we left off. We're talking about how, like, I believe metaphysics and like technology kind of go hand in hand. Maybe not hand in hand, but kind of technology has helped explain like metaphysical concepts that I learned. And so I find that like super, super interesting, because it's almost like they took like information from like the unseen world and like took it to the seen world and made it so we could, you know, operate off like ether and all that kind of stuff. So I find that super, super, super interesting. So yeah, you know, you wear a shirt like this, somebody might be like, oh, what do you think? They might bring it up in conversation and stuff like that. Yeah, it's definitely a conversation starter. For sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that I've been super fascinated about for a while, and for me, I've always been interested in this idea of like of how technology and spirituality have always gone a bit hand in hand, like even in the like invention of something like the radio, or, you know, like that was sort of based in these practices of the unknown, or of this like foundation of something that's almost magical in a way. This idea that maybe you can tap into spirits and ghosts, and, you know, like technology sort of born out of these things that are either magical or spiritual or metaphysical. So I always find it very interesting that technology is so like grounded in the real, you know, like what's literal, what can we quantify? But there's so many things that when you talk about spirituality that aren't really quantifiable, you know, it's not so tangible. So I'm always interested in how you square those two kind of conflicting things.
Exactly, and that's kind of why I like it. Like, 'cause that's kind of why I like the like it would be like quantum physics and like technology, because you can kind of give somebody like a reference point. Like if you're trying to explain something maybe that's metaphysical, you may be able to be like, okay, so you know how like Wi-Fi works or something like that. Or say like maybe not even just metaphysical, or like how like telepathy or something, right? Like how that's like something that's going over something that we can't see. It's like Wi-Fi is going over something that we can't see. You know what I mean? So it's like you can kind of give people like references, points, and things of that nature, like to try to bring a better understanding to it. So yeah, it's like when you're just talking about something abstract, like nobody really knows, you know, what you're speaking about. It's just like it would almost be like I would explain like a blank thought. So it's kind of like if someone like that's kind of how I look at it. So it's like if somebody says like a word that you don't know, it's almost like comes up blank in the head. It's like the brain doesn't really know what to do. You know what I mean? It's like what do I do with that? You know what I mean? So it's like to bring like more of a clarity to that thought. It's like that's why I like quantum physics and like technique.
That's
Sure. That
it's not an easy concept to grasp for a lot of people, myself included. I tried to get into understand metaphysics, and I was just like, oh, over my head. I need something to grasp onto.
yeah, me and you both. Like I don't know if anybody's ever like said that really like study like to ever really get it. I don't know if we ever really gonna understand like the full thing about it, but studying it right now is fun. So as much as I can learn in this lifetime, do it. But it's just so much. It's an immense amount of information that's been like left behind, and then just trying to like do like experiences and things of that nature. Like I don't know if I mentioned the hemisync last time we talked. It's like the CIA gateway document, and they talk about like linking like the hemispheres of the brain. And I'm like trying to like I'm starting to experiment with like this little thing that they did with this. So like I want to start doing more stuff like that, like actually experiencing things that they say that's where you get the most insight for sure.
I don't know this at all, actually. I'm very very curious though. How did you come across it? Or
So I came across it. I don't know if you ever heard of a guy named Billy Carson, Forbidden Knowledge. He has like a YouTube channel that's called Forbidden Knowledge, but he spoke about it, and I think he read like the introduction or something, and I just downloaded it and read it myself, and yeah, I was like, wow, this is amazing, and it was like I think the document was like from 1983, and the thing that they like knew this stuff back then is like, what do they know now? Is the question. Excuse me. So yeah, it's like, and so the document pretty much goes into how they were conducting experiments about getting into like a meditative state, playing like certain wavelengths, certain frequencies, and then this like allows the brain to communicate to the other side of the brain, and from there that opens up like this whole different kind of thing where you can communicate with different dimensions, and you can like it's called like remote viewing. You can like go to different places and get information, like transfer your mind outside of yourself. They were talking about this is all in the CIA document. And I was just like, what? Like, yeah, this is wild. So, and this was like a proven study. You know what I mean? And so from there, they just, I guess, hid it from the public. Then they finally unclassified the document. But yeah, it's like proven that they were doing this with multiple people, putting them through these tests, and they were doing it. And I did it once, and I feel like something came about, but I'm gonna just keep doing it and see what happens.
whoa,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
that yeah this seems like something that I would sort of find in. I feel like I came across so many of these things when I was younger. Like these like sort of declassified sort of files or things that were sort of on the fringes of the internet that I would think like would have so much more like attention paid to it, and you're like, oh, how's no one talking about this, or how hasn't this come up? But then you look into it and you find how the validity of the studies, or like it's sort of like backed up, or like there's some there's some foundation to it. So this is super interesting.
Yeah. I think so as well, because yeah, that gives it. Even though we know the CIA and everything of that nature, these what they call three-letter agencies don't always tell the truth, but it's just inside of us, I guess. That holds a lot more weight. If you see something, okay, the CIA conducted a study on this. You say that to somebody, you got their attention rather than saying, "Oh, I saw this on the internet." You know what I mean? It's like, okay. It's like, yeah, somebody might listen a little bit more. So, yeah. And I've been looking for more stuff like that because I plan on shooting a lot more stuff or content for my YouTube channel. And expanding on stuff like this and having more things that I can be like more credible. Because that's like the thing. I want to speak on a lot of stuff, but I'm kind of like, who's going to listen to me at this point? I haven't proved myself to do anything that extraordinary. I haven't shown anything that anybody would really want to do from what I can see. So it's kind of like I'm like, so how can I like leverage information that is credible so people will actually believe what I say? So that's kind of like the dilemma in the last 6 months. Well, yeah, I think I'm getting it now. So like finding like these kind of studies, and I've been finding different things like to back up what I'm saying with like proven facts. So yeah.
So, but yeah, you also you want to use the platform that you have to reach an audience and be able to communicate this. Like, if I understand correctly, like because maybe this isn't something that you've sort of publicly talked about before, so you want to find a good entry point into it that you come across as credible and so forth.
Definitely, for sure. I feel like there's a lot of people, online that's talking about stuff, but it's kind of hard to believe it for some people. Like, I may believe it, because I don't know. I feel like this world is wild, and I'll be like, people, you can't discredit people's experiences. Things that like people might have really experienced this stuff, or really like, know this kind of stuff. So, but yeah, no, it's not me. I haven't spoke on this publicly, anything of that nature. I don't have a degree, like through like metaphysics or physics or anything like that. So it's like people gonna be like, who is this dude? You know what I mean? Like, what does he know? Like, why should I listen to him? But it's like, if I like put things that are really credible behind it, then people might be like, all right, well, can't be lying if this is like a proven study. So, yeah.
If you were to, if I came across, for the sake of argument, if I came across one of your videos and you were trying to communicate this particular study, how would you explain it as like, because you said that you try to replicate this experiment, like how would you sort of communicate that or articulate what you did to an audience that's like maybe already a little skeptical?
Okay, so pretty much, so how they did it too. Well, I guess I was kind of making correlations as I was reading. But yeah, pretty much. I mean, so how now we use things like they're called like binaural beats or something, right? Like you can listen to them, like you study, and it's supposed to like help you focus and things of that nature, right? So yeah, like we already know that people use this to get their mind in a certain state that's like calm and relaxed to help them, focus more. So pretty much what they did was they like, I guess, figured out the right frequency that helps our brain get into that state. And they have this over like an audio track, and it's like pretty much a guided meditation. So from there, she pretty much tells you what to do. And I just laid on my back, got into a meditative state, and just not asked, but followed, her instruction, everything of that nature. And she had pretty much had me relax pretty much my whole body, and then just like ask a question. You just sit there in silence and meditate. Just let your mind don't try to think about nothing. Just let it do this thing. It was like I got like a download. It was interesting. I'm not gonna say like I heard a voice or something, but like if you've been like thinking about an idea for a long time, and then you suddenly just be like, oh, that's how I need to do it. You know what I mean? Like it just kind of comes upon you, like, oh, okay, yeah, that'll work. You know what I mean? And so it was kind of like that kind of thing. Like it wasn't like a weird thing. Like I heard a voice or something. It was kind of like sensitive. Like here you go. This is what you need. It was real interesting, man. Real interesting. But yeah, that's kind of what they were. They didn't say that exactly. But yeah, it was. That's kind of what they alluded to. You know what I mean? It's like, I guess, I don't know. Like I said, I only did it once. I will keep on doing it, but that's probably what I can explain so far.
So if I wanted to do that, it would be fairly straightforward then. I don't need anything specific other than that, or a training or something like that, if I've never sort of meditated or...
No, I mean, I wouldn't think so. Now, I will say, like, I've pretty much been meditating pretty much consistently now, probably about a year and a half to 2 years. That's like, I would say at least like 3 times a week, on and on. Excuse me, but for the most part, I've been doing that, like meditation, like for about 2 years now, pretty consistently. So I know when I first started, getting into that state would probably be hard. Like I couldn't sit still for like 30 seconds. You know what I mean? So that's what they say. Just keep on working on it, though. You know, like just getting into it. But I think anybody can do it, for sure.
Yeah, I think it's also, yeah, I think in our world, maybe the one that we both share, that's like of so much distraction and so much stimuli, being so consistently bombarded with information and task and work, and I know that I'd sort of wake up with like a full brain, I go to sleep with a full brain, and like the thing that I need desperately, sometimes more than like a paycheck, is just to like get my brain to go quiet for a moment. And that's where I see the appeal of meditation in a time now more than ever.
Yeah. Oh, for sure, man. Just having that, yeah, like how I explain it, I almost say it's like it gives me space in the mind. Like I don't know if that makes sense, but that's the best way I can explain it. It's like the more I meditate, the more I feel like I have more space. And I don't know if that makes sense, but it's just how I feel. It's almost like, yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. I'm still working on that, but that's like the best I can come up with recently. I just had that thought, but yeah, it's almost like, yeah, like you were saying, like you like a full brain, right? Like when you go to sleep, when you wake up, it's just like I constantly got things that I need to take care of. It's almost like the more I meditate, it's like, okay, I have a space where I can go to and kind of get away from that. If that makes sense. You know what I mean? It's like it's interesting.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's a really noble pursuit to be able to share that, especially when it's not, I mean, people talk about it, but it's always so fleeting, or not really sort of pushed as something that's of real importance. I think it's of like genuine importance for people to be able to have some sort of mental wellness nowadays. I think it's really integral, especially for people that I know. So I'm curious, maybe you touched on it before, but so where did you originally develop this fascination with metaphysics and in spirituality? Where did that come from originally?
That's a good question. And I'll try to find that myself sometimes. I don't know. I think I might have got it from my mother, like when I was younger. I think she was like pretty into like spirituality. It was more like probably like based on like religious type things, but it was also like she passed away when I was 10, just to let you know. But it was more like leading up, like when she like I guess like leading more like to when she passed away. It was kind of like I feel like kind of like got more intense. And so, from what I can remember, which I don't remember a lot, but I feel like I feel like that happened just in me. I feel like, you know what I mean. So I feel like it's always kind of been, and I just never really got to express it because I like wanted like football. Not a lot of football players want to probably talk about that, and I didn't want to talk about it probably at that time, to be honest. So I feel like when I like got on my own and just had time to just start studying different things, it was like, whoa, you know what I mean? I instantly like connected with it. And so, yeah, it's just been a journey from there. But yeah, I think it started at a young age. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, maybe that's what's interesting. This like being in a profession that's like not typically related to, you know, I don't know, I'm trying to think of something that's a bit more maybe maybe music and spirituality, or sort of painting or the arts and spirituality, but this sort of like this field of IT in spirituality. It maybe going back to what we were talking about earlier, seems almost like in opposition to each other. So it's like is it something that like comes up in conversation, or that you can talk to easily with like colleagues or something, or it doesn't really find purchase?
It doesn't, it doesn't come up too often. I try to, like, we had like a team meeting every other week where we would like have to like share a picture, and I would like try to like, throw some stuff in there, like maybe like a esoteric picture or some of that nature, and like, see who might, because that's the thing, you never know, like people who's into it, because most people don't want to talk about it because they feel like people gonna say something or like judge them if they talk about it. So it's always interesting, like if I do bring it up, the people that's like, oh, like, man, you're into that? Like, I don't think nobody else will want to talk about that. Like, I find that pretty cool. But yeah, technology and spirituality is definitely an interesting intersection, I believe, now, but I don't think it should be. I think it should go hand in hand. Like, I feel like from the more I study, I feel like back in the day, like, and I'm talking like ancient history, ancient, they interlinked everything. So like technology went with spirituality, or everything kind of went hand in hand, or they like combined them or used their real job, like say they were a carpenter or something back then, right? They used that in a way to enhance their spiritual self, which is, I think so. I feel like anything you do can have spirituality in it. You know what I mean? I feel like we are just spiritual beings in ourselves. So anything that we do can be spiritual. So that's how I look at it. I don't think anything should be disconnected from it, because I feel like it all is spiritual. If you just like understand what, like, and that's something I want to, like, I'm about to stop using like spiritual and the word spirit and soul, because I feel like that's a blank thought in people's minds. And it's like, what can I put that word to? I don't feel like anybody has a reference.
Right.
Because I don't feel like I do all the time. When I say like spirit or soul, like people are like, well, ain't nobody ever seen a spirit or soul. So, people are like, what is that? We have an understanding kind of, but yeah, I'm kind of getting off topic here. I don't want to go too far on the question, but yeah, I'll get off the tangents if you let me.
Yeah, go for it. This is it's the conversation for tangents, I think, because I think that's when you find interesting nuggets of information, through digression. I think we're too focused on giving like the clear sound, but 20 seconds you're in and out. It's much better to just go off.
Yeah, just let it flow, right? Just get in there with it, cause yeah. I forgot. Kanye used to say something about a stream of consciousness. I believe Kanye used to call it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's where the real art is.
You said what?
That's where the real art is.
Yeah.
You just. Sure. But I can actually share that I grew up in a household that was. I mean, I was raised Catholic. It wasn't necessarily like we weren't the most religious family. It was almost like hedging our bets. My parents were like, oh, we'll raise them Catholic because we were raised Catholic, etc., etc. But I always grew up with this sort of like this like questioning, not necessarily of like the. I think when I was young, I was still kind of questioning what God exists, because I was skeptical that the God that I was sort of understanding and the classes that I was in, like I didn't know if it was exactly like that, but I had a sense that there was something else. So there was some other force, some other world, something beyond that, which I could sort of put my hand on. And I think that's always sort of stayed with me. I don't consider myself religious now, but I feel like that sort of like early upbringing has sort of like primed me for, I think, being a bit more open to understanding or like listening to other people talk about a spiritual world, which I think is important these days. I think it's critical nowadays to have that openness.
Yeah, I agree, and I think it started the same for me as well. I was very like Christian, but yeah, I think being like that gave me more of a open to being able to see this kind of thing. So yeah, I agree. I think I was more the same way for sure.
And yeah, I always get these. I don't know if you looked at that link I sent, but I think it might be kind of an interesting literature for you to check out. I was sort of investigating it over the past couple days. It's this philosopher, this Italian philosopher.
I found a PDF. I wanted to make sure.
Yeah. But yeah, he kind of posed this these two worlds, this thing of the technic and that of the magic, and then the from what I understand, I'm terrible at reading philosophy, but this idea of the technic is this reality, the one that kind of we live in, or sort of our society lives in, which is like only that which can be sort of captured with language is real. Like the thing that we can measure and prove and put into words are the things that are real, and anything that's not is not real. So if we can't sort of define it, then naturally it doesn't exist. And it's sort of what this philosopher is trying to talk about or bring back is this idea of magic. It's that the things that can't be explained, the things that are mysterious, or that I'm at a loss for words for being able to describe it, or haven't been proven, like that has just as much sort of bearing in our reality. So it's almost like if we want to change the world, we have to like have this sort of fundamental internal change of what we consider to be real and to focus on in our lives. And I just found that really, really interesting.
I agree. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna read that book. Now that you say that, I'm definitely gonna read it. I like that view. It's probably a very interesting view to go into for sure. Because I think that's true. I think that's very true that we focus on too much. I think they will call it like materialism, right?
Yeah.
Like that's kind of what he's getting to. Yeah, what he's saying, like technique. Because it's pretty much everything is only the stuff that you can see and touch is real. But we know this fundamentally to not be true. So it's like you were saying, it's an internal change, but I feel like we're programmed almost to think that way.
Yeah.
And it's like how do we switch that and like get people to understand like, wait, we know if we like just close our eyes and close our mouths, like we can still see and hear and talk and speak, right? Like in our minds. So that just doing that just tells us, right, that it's like something more to us that we possibly can't see. We don't really know where that voice is coming from, but we know it's something part of us. So it's like, you know what I mean? So it's like, okay, so that right there tells us alone there's something more wrong. Without even trying to get into like quantum physics and talking about, quantum entanglement and all this kind of stuff. You don't even have to get into that. You can just do like a simple test like that. And and just be like, okay, well, must be something. Must be something outside. So
yeah.
I'm definitely gonna check that book out. Definitely.
Yeah, he seems to be really kind of a young philosopher too, but he also very much talking about very focused on politics as well. But I think this one was interesting for it not being explicitly political. It was more of like this it also touches on metaphysics a lot as sort of a way of activism. You know, how you can be a change in yourself before you become a change externally or socially or economically. So yeah, it seems to be a very, very interesting read.
Yeah, it seems like sure. Have you ever heard of a guy named Manly P. Hall?
What's his name? Manly P. Harrell?
Yeah, Manly P. Hall, like the hallway.
Oh,
Hall.
no.
So yeah, he would be like a philosopher, I guess, from like the 1900s. I study him a lot, like a lot. I think he had like a lot of good information. And he left behind so much information. It's incredible.
Wow.
But like, yeah. So if you ever get a chance, I would say check him out. And if you ever back in California or in LA, he actually built like it's called the Philosophical Research Society, and it's like this like library with like all these like ancient books that you like can't find anywhere. You can't take them out the library.
Whoa.
But yeah, he actually built that out here in LA. So yeah, I'll definitely start going there more.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Manly P. Hall. Can't imagine you have a lot of, because we're talking about this and you have so many references and also just frankly like a drive to do so much. Like now you want to continue making these series online or having more content where you talk about this. I don't necessarily know how you have the time to do it with like such a full schedule. So I'm always so like impressed, but also like perplexed by this sort of like output of people who want to do so much in such a short period of time. It's very impressive.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate it, man. I haven't started doing everything yet, so we'll see. You know, like, when we get going, we'll see. You know, if it gets overwhelming or not. I started really shooting again, and I'm like working on a short film that we're gonna get shot here soon. This weekend, we're gonna start shooting it. Being like a lead in that. So, I wanna do a good amount of things while I'm here on Earth. So it's time to go and get started.
Well, it's still early.
Yeah, but you know, it's getting a little 30, you know.
Oh, come on. Don't say that. You're gonna stress me out.
Nah, I'll just messing around, man. I feel like I got a good amount of time. For sure. We both do, man. We can do some great things, you know, before we get out of here. Or go to the next destination. Who knows?
Yeah. Also, if there's always the next time. I always say, or rather, my grandmother would always say that. She'd say like, oh, you know, if I didn't do all the things that I wanted to do now, but I'll have the next chance. And if it turns out there is no next chance, then I'll be totally bullshit. But I think it's it's you do everything that you can with the time that you're given, essentially.
Definitely, for sure.
Well, let me just check my levels really quick. I did have like a few sort of switching gears a little bit, do something that happened quite recently, like as of a few days ago. I don't know if you were following. This is more in the technology realm. The Amazon Web Services had this massive cloud outage. I think it was like yesterday. yeah, it was like on Monday it took down like huge swaths of the internet. Did you hear about that or
I haven't heard about that, honestly. I
m-
have.
maybe you could, because I'm a layperson with this, and I didn't know exactly what happened, but the idea that like so many services, because like the AWS is so huge, it can it has so many businesses across the world, it's like sort of like the backbone of the internet, and it had a power outage or a cloud outage due to a DNS issue. Do you know what that is? This sort of like DNS resolution, um,
Yeah.
basically not being able to point to things. Do you
Yeah.
know how like something like that could happen?
How exactly it happened, I'm not sure about that. But was it all of their servers or just like a certain region? Because I know they have like Amazon's had different regions. You know, north, west, south, things of that nature.
Yeah, it was. I think it was in. I think it was like in Virginia. Like
Okay.
North Virginia was. It was like one of their main data centers. Um, but I think due to this DNS resolution issue, it just couldn't like business people couldn't point to businesses, and chats went down. I think like the UK government sites went down, things like that. So um, I was just kind of interested in the fact that like so much is like centralized, this like this concern that this sort of reliance on central cloud services can be such a danger. If there's an issue, things can go down very easily.
Yeah, I would have to. That's interesting. That is just. I feel like it's got to be more than DNS because they probably have more DNS servers and things of that nature. So I'm like, it has to be something. Maybe it was, but DNS is pretty much how we find websites. So yeah, the DNS is like it's a server that takes you to where you need to go. So it'll be like today when you went to Riverside, like your computer like would reach out to a DNS server like, hey, what's Riverside.fm? What's that IP address? What's the IP address of that domain? Right? Then they came back, gave an IP address, and then that's how you got to this website. So yeah, it's like they usually have like different servers and have it like laid out over different places. So for just like one server to take down that much stuff is interesting. I'm gonna have to look more into that. But yeah, that's wild. Just that took down a lot of stuff. So they usually try to prepare for that, but some stuff I guess you can't prepare for.
Yeah, I mean, in that sense, it opens up these questions of like uh the positives and the negatives of having something that's so relied upon by many like businesses and locations around the world. This idea that maybe things are have a bit more of a standard or more security in a way, but when there is an issue, you can have so much chaos in many, as opposed to having things be a little bit more decentralized or mesh networks or things like that. So um, yeah, I guess I don't necessarily have a question to it. I was just fascinated by the idea that so much of the internet can be taken down with such a simple, like relatively banal um, IT issue, such as like a DNS resolution. So
Yeah, yeah, I find that pretty interesting for sure. Yeah, that's just something that simple. I feel like it has to be something more, but could be. It could be. It could be, man. So I don't know. That's an interesting one. That's a really interesting one. But yeah, for that to happen to AWS, that's how you know cybersecurity is always gonna be here for a while.
in what sense?
I mean, or if it was taken down by a hacker or something like that, then it's gonna have to be here because if a big company like that can still get taken down, and there's a lot of gaps, things of that nature, right? And security still. So that's why they're always like looking for what they call uh, day ones. I think they call it day ones. I can't think of the name of that.
Mm-hmm.
When the virus, like the first day a virus comes out or something like that.
Ah, okay.
So yeah.
And do you feel like is that something that you come across with like more and more in your work, is like more preparedness for cybersecurity? I think maybe preparing more for attacks, or has there been like sort of a change in tact or defense in the industry, being a little bit more wary of like attacks can come at any moment?
Oh yeah, I mean it's a constant every day. Cybersecurity, like the bigger people in the company are looking to how can they secure the network more, right? Because there's always something else they can secure. Like I don't know if I can talk about this. Like we just changed from like our so how we do our VPN. So it's like we changed the security on that, so it can be more secure. So even like, and this is a government facility, and so we're like changing a whole bunch of locations from a certain type of what's called like an OPSEC tunnel over to what is now called a TIP 3.0. So it's like a different type of how they set up their tunnels and VPNs, how they have different locations communicate to each other. So yeah, they're always looking for different security functions, security features, anything of that nature. It's always being worked on. So yeah, at all times.
Do you feel like there's something maybe for the layperson, for someone that's outside of the IT industry, that would you wish they would understand more about your work? If there's something in particular.
Nah, not really. Not anything that I really wish anybody would understand more about cybersecurity. I mean, if they want to know, they'll seek it and find it, right? But it's so much. You know what I mean? If anything that I want people to know is that, look, it's going this way for the moment, so learn something about it, maybe, because it affects us every day. So
yeah. No, I meant more in general about like your field, not necessarily about cybersecurity, but because I was always interested in this field that I think was so distant, or from my perspective, so seemingly foreign to me. So I was always curious about people who were working in IT, who may wish people understood something about their industry. For me, I have a lot of things that I wish people would know about the filmmaking process, so something more like that.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what people should really know about IT at the moment. I can't come up with nothing. I can't really come up with nothing. Like I say, it's so vast. Like I don't really would know. I feel like we're all on technology, different kind of technology. I feel like people are into technology. So, but exactly what they would need to know from IT, or what I would want them to know, it's like I don't know. I can't pinpoint one thing. You know what I mean? It's like I can't really pinpoint one thing about IT, about what I want to do.
Yeah, for sure.
I said I would have to really think on it.
Yeah, you get back to me about that one. That was no, more of a curiosity, the sort of like the hidden secret.
Would be the answer to that.
You would what?
I said, how long do you want to be here? I would like to explain everything about IT. It's like how long you want to be here, how much time you got.
Not forever, but we can. I could leave the camera running, and you could just kind of go off.
Just let
check
go,
it in the morning. I'll just. It's just like 12 hours of you talking till you fall asleep. Then I'll just go back and go, oh man, he had a very good answer actually. Just happened at 4 a.m.
Exactly.
Now, I remember you said like in the last call that how amazed you were at the complexity of these systems of these networks, of like these arrays of data centers, how the internet is maintained, even like you say, how does this work? There's just such a complexity to everything. Are there like some things that you're still trying to get your head around in the IT field, things that still are almost like inescapable to you, or even things that are total mysteries to you?
Oh yeah, for sure. There's definitely things that are like still trying to get my head around, still total mysteries. In IT, like just as far as like crystals, so it's like crystals in laptops, right? You ever heard about that? So it's like quartz crystals and things of that nature, and so I was like learning about that, and just like that was like a mystery about like how crystals can hold a frequency for very long. And so that's why they use them to like calculate time or like hold time, because frequencies can, crystals can hold a frequency for long. Which I'm still trying, like, what does that even mean, right? That's like, so things can hold a frequency for longer, so like something like that, that's a mystery, and I'm still trying to figure out, for sure. What that may not, but yeah, it's a bunch of things, like just how things work off 0 or 1, like, because everything is pretty much working off yes and no. That's still a mystery. So it's like everything is switching, pretty much everything is controlled by a yes or a no at this point with computers, right? That's all a 0 or 1 is. And so it's like, how do you even take like that small measurement and then make it into something like now, see each other and communicate? How do you go from there to this? That's just mind blowing. So, like, who's the first person to think of that? How did you come up with that? Like, what? So yeah, that's definitely like a mystery, for sure. But yeah, it's definitely a whole bunch of stuff for the technology. But that's why I love it. That's why I love it. Like, keep learning, and then who knows what else they learn that. So
I think, and that's I think what I'm fascinated by. This seemingly infinite sort of repository of information or knowledge to be tapped with almost like in seemingly every direction. So I think things will always there will always remain some new mystery in the field, which I think is actually kind of interesting. Maybe some things that are okay. I think it was also going back to this book that I was mentioning, that I think there's also like a beauty in things remaining a mystery, even in wanting to know it. So I find that very interesting. But it almost like it somehow gives me some like calm to know that like even somebody who's a professional in the field is still struggles to wrap their head around this sort of like fundamental concept of the binary system, these zeros and ones as comprising the internet. So I still find it pretty mind-blowing myself.
Yeah, it's complex. It's I always say it's like it's easy to use some of these systems that we have, but then it's also like to understand like fundamentally how they work. It's like that's a whole nother ballgame. But that's what I like to see and find out. It's like that's when you really get to understand. So indeed, I think I'm always be learning in tech or IT. As long as I'm in the field, there's always something to learn. So
this idea of the quartz crystals, when you said it to me, it almost had an air of like alchemy or magic to it. This way that like crystals hold this information that, like, to me it almost sounded like you were describing something that was magic.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and that's what they say like magic is, right? They say like magic is only magic until you know how it works, right? Then it's not magic no more.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So it's like it's only magic until we figure out. And you just kind of gave me a hint, because I like how you just put that, because frequency is information, light is information. So that's kind of saying that the crystal is able to hold information. So you see, even like that, I just learned something there. You just taught me something. I just took something from it. You know what I mean? So, yeah. I kind of forgot where we were going with that. But
yeah, it essentially is what it was. These sort of like wondering how things work, trying to wrap your head around things that maybe seem inescapable at one point, or total mysteries.
Yeah, for sure. It's mysteries everywhere. But like you said, sometimes I feel like it's good for someone to stay mystery, so you still got something to keep hunting and keep going, and you got something to look forward to, right? Try to solve. So.
For sure. And I know when we last spoke, you said something that like really kind of unlocked the key for me, or not even a key. It's just it opened a door for thinking about something that very, very fundamental. Not only in my industry as like a filmmaker, not only in the IT world, but just like generally, I think this concept of reality, what reality is. And you said it early. You said it like when we started talking today, and then last time. The IT industry helps show you how reality works, and on one hand, I understand that, but then on the other hand, I feel as though, like, for me, I find it's getting harder and harder to distinguish what's real lately, especially in the world of technology. So I'm just wondering if you could speak a little bit more on how the IT industry helps show you how reality works.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, let me see. Well, I don't want to hit the same things I hit on last time. I feel like we didn't get to go like too far into it. I feel like we were just getting to this point, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Then we cut off, so that's why I wanted to follow up on it.
Okay, gotcha. But pretty much just like I say, I've been working on like different thoughts and things, and trying to figure out how I want to, I guess, conceptualize some of these things, some of these ideas that I have for like YouTube videos and things that I'm gonna be working on in the future. And this is gonna help me get this more in words. But pretty much is how. So if you look at like quantum physics, so I correlate. Sometimes I have to say, okay, I got this from this to from this. This is how I got here, right?
Yeah,
Sometimes I gotta like lay the path out, right? So I correlate a lot of things from like the spiritual, quote unquote, spiritual realm, what they call it, and like quantum physics. How I feel like quantum physics gives us a understanding of maybe how it works in a sense, right? Or it's just like the smallest parts. So pretty much where I was going with that would be like, yeah, quantum physics, it says it's like a grid, right? So it's like a universe, like a grid almost that's like laid across space and time.
Okay.
And so it's like, okay, so that's like a spiritual concept, like how they kind of have like, so it's like fiber lines that connect through the ocean and things of that nature. So it's almost like they built a whole grid around the planet with like fiber connected like different countries. And so pretty much we set up our own grid, our own universal quote unquote grid with the internet. And so we want to say like a grid. So how I look at that is like, say, okay, so it's a grid, and I'm looking at it from a metaphysical point of view. And so we're saying that we're like a almost like a node in this grid, different souls that are all connected to each other. That's kind of how we look at it from like a metaphysical point of view, right? So you can kind of say that your computer is a node in a network of the internet. You know what I mean? Because it's just a node on the internet that's communicating information to this place, to this place, to this place. And if I look at myself, I'm just almost like a node with a whole bunch of nodes, quote unquote. We're human beings, we're divine beings, and all that. But I'm just using, a term to, make it. But it's like I'm a node, you're a node. We can communicate information to people, whether that's telepathically, whether that's like this, which we could possibly say is like would be through the quote unquote hardware, right? Because we can kind of look at our body like a hardware system that we're using, and we're kind of what they call a demon in technology runs in the background. So it's like something that runs in the background that controls the processes of the computer. So if I look at myself as being the observer, as a spirit, we don't want to, people have a false conception about the word demon. They say, some people like to pronounce it daemon, because it's D-A-E,
Right.
is that word, right? So I've heard it pronounced both ways. But it's like, okay, so if we look at that, like, okay, so we could say we're almost the observer that handles the processes of the body, in a sense. Because if we're saying we're bigger than the body, then, we're not actually the body. So we can be that observer, or even, who knows? But that's like, another way that I kind of say, like, okay, this technology kind of helps me understand reality. Trying to think, let me see what else. Look at kind of so as far as I was studying like the quantum computer, right, the other day, it feels like they just made almost like a brain, just a artificial brain.
Yeah, I saw it.
Right, so
Yeah.
you saw it, yeah. So it's almost like that might help with like, or it seems like they kind of understand how the brain works. So pretty much, so it's almost just like they firing information through artificial neurons. Almost kind of like how they kind of got it. If I don't know, because they say a neuron, I guess, gives information to something. Still trying to figure that out. But if we just keep it like IT sense and not go like quantum computing, which quantum computing is IT, I guess. But I'm trying to think about another correlation that I put together. Okay. So this is another one I actually want to talk about, because I actually have a list of these things. I wish I might open up my notes here.
Oh, that would be awesome. Because that was the first thing you said was beautiful. Your this sort of like this mesh or this web of souls connected. I think it's such a helpful way of thinking about our world. So. Yeah, these are great correlations. Break out the notes anytime.
For sure, yeah. I was like, let's see. But I do have one. Okay, so I was thinking about this thing here. So it's a thing that they have. It's called, not called, but NTP. So it's an NTP server. And so these are servers that control time for technology. So if you look at like servers with like a hierarchy, right? So say you got like government servers, and you have like or let's say like military, like real world military servers. Then you have like a government server, time server. Then you have like servers that work for big corporations. And then you have like time servers that serve the regular population, something like that, right? So it's like a hierarchy of servers. And so these all keep the time, and pretty much the closer you get to like the military server, like the closer you are to real time. If that makes sense. It may be off for like a millisecond or two or something of that nature. It's not, it's not big until you just start having delays and things of that nature, but it's a certain delay. Like my audio might be stuck. Hold on a second. Start audio. Hello. Alright, looks like my audio is gone. So So yeah, I'm correlating this between. So I got this from a guy, the guy forward in Knowledge World, Billy Carson. So they talk about, it's a research that they did on brains, where they say the brain has a 7-second delay from where it transfers information or it gets information. There's like a 7-second delay from when it actually makes the decision in reality. So they did this whole concept where they would like show a picture or image or give you like a video to watch and like study like the brain effects. And it turned out that the brain was actually responding 7 seconds earlier than they saw the picture. So this brings me to it just brought a thought. So I was like, okay, what if? Because then I got into this like consciousness where it's saying there's different levels of consciousness. Almost like the more you get into meditation, the more you understand how to steal your mind, the more you can get into like a flow of like the universal consciousness is what they're saying, right? So that would almost be like the heartbeat of the earth. So say the earth had a heartbeat where everything was like resonating. I think they have this thing, right? It's called like the resonant frequency or something, where they study like the pulse or the frequency of the earth.
Yeah.
So it's almost like if you can raise your frequency to a level, you may be able to come to like a closer react. So say you can take that 7-second delay down. So the more you upgrade your consciousness, the more you do that, the more that delay, that 7-second delay from that signal from your brain, and you actually getting that signal. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm still working that out, but that's like something that I thought was like pretty interesting. I try to make that correlation. Yeah. Still working on, like I said, I'm still working on stuff, but yeah.
And how are you thinking? Because it's I think these are definitely concepts that I think you don't have to have a particular background to grasp, but it's I think it's very important how you use like sort of grounded illustrations, examples, connections, like how you contextualize all this information is really important. So I was wondering, do you have like a way to visualize, or how do you help people digest this information? Or were you thinking it would just be through conversation that you're able to talk about these correlations?
Excuse me. So yeah, stuff like this helps me usually, because I usually end up accumulating a lot of information, and I end up working on it in my mind. But when I have these conversations, it helps me like come to a more understanding when I say it out loud. But
Definitely.
really, a guy said something. His name was A.A. Rashid. I actually did an interview with him. It's on my YouTube page. It's like the first interview, like real quote unquote interview I did. Like sit down with somebody. The only one. So I do more. But I heard something from him like a few years ago. It was kind of like he was talking about reference points. So he was saying you need to have like a certain amount of reference points, because you never know like what new information you can get that you might need that reference point. So that's why I like always search out new information, because I've had things that which I can't, I'm gonna try to think of something, but that people may not think have any kind of connection. But it's only because like I knew about this that it was like, oh, okay, now I can kind of like make like okay, it kind of helps me get like a 360 view. And so I that's kind of like how I come up with this. Most of the time, I don't know how I come up with some of this stuff, right? I'll talk to my brother, like, I'm just like, you're probably the only person that won't say I'm crazy if I tell you this. So I'll like, just throw some stuff at him sometimes, because he already know I'm a little crazy, so he don't mind. But
yeah, but
I'm always trying to, come up and it's like you said, more of a grounded understanding, a grounded explanation, and not have something crazy that sounds like, just, what's up with this now? Yeah, I'm trying to find more ways to explain. So yeah, sometimes I don't know where it comes from. Maybe it comes from meditations, things of that nature, because I ask, to see things clear, but
yeah,
we'll know.
Collective unconscious, maybe it's picked up through the experiences of others. That could, if that's also your your belief in how we absorb information, or it's because I've always had this I've always viewed this how information data is stored, how our lives are stored, because I kind of started this whole film maybe similar in the way that you're talking, is that I feel as though half of my brain exists in rooms that I've never seen, these data centers, that I feel like so much of my experience is separated from my brain. Part of my being and my existence, how I characterize myself, exists somewhere else. And I think it's always created both this like alienation, but also this like fascination with like, where's the rest of me? Where's the rest of my being? And I feel like doing this work is, in a way, in this roundabout way, kind of a search for that. So but I've never felt comfortable saying that to somebody.
Okay,
because it's still very much a thought that I'm trying to work out, and maybe it's more philosophical, existential, and I think all these questions are just trying to come to a better understanding of like who we are, how we come to be, how we define ourselves, and I think it's super important.
Oh yeah. I think it's the more that I thought it always was an interesting thing that I got into like insurance when I was like 22, and they put me on all this kind of like self-development stuff, right? And I look at this stuff as self-development, you know what I mean? But I always found it interesting how like when you like, I would say I got a self-development book or something, people were just like, they would kind of look at me funny, like, and I always wonder why people look down on developing yourself, or they look at you like you may have a problem. When you just like, oh, I just want to work on myself. Why is like working on myself look that funny?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I always found that interesting. But like you said, you never like felt like you could really say that to somebody, because it's like, yeah, you never know how people gonna respond to that. If you just being like, you say some of these concepts, but it's just who we are. And I feel like I always found that interesting how people thought it was weird to learn about ourselves, or weird to like try to improve the self. It's like, wait, like people like, oh, why you got all those self-development books? Like, what else should I develop but myself?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I always found that like super, super interesting. Like, I don't know where that thought process comes from in people, but
Totally.
I respect that. Yeah, I respect that. You would say that, because I feel like we all are working on ourselves, man, and everybody just figuring out a way to hide their work that they need, their flaws. You know what I mean? So it's like, ain't nobody perfect. We all say that, right? So it's like, if that's the case, then let's work on ourselves to try to get closer.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Sure.
I super respect that. So I'm very curious to see what how that manifests in this material that you create, like these whether it's short videos or either just conversations. Like I'm very curious to see what you develop as well, because clearly you have a lot of very sort of formed opinions, or these correlations, as you say. So I think that personally, I feel like the best way is to share it, because I think a thought that exists in a vacuum, just yourself, is it's a shame if it's not like bounced off by another person, because then that's the only way that a thought is truly developed, if you share it, and then you have you have feedback and a response, and it creates value, so So yeah, I'm curious to see what you create over the next. Hopefully, you have time to do it, but
oh yeah,
I can't help you there.
But yeah, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm excited to get back shooting. I'm doing an event with that guy that I've been mentioning, the Billy Carson.
Okay.
And then that's when I plan on going back on YouTube. So that event is on November the 8th. And so after that, I plan on like starting to shoot it here. Like I'm making my like little apartment, like a little studio. So I'm building it, working on it. So we should be getting it going here soon, for sure.
Right on. Oh, that's awesome.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Thanks.
I appreciate it, Mark.
I appreciate you getting on again, and also wearing that fantastic shirt that I really would love to have my own pair of.
Look, if I knew where to find them, I'd direct you, but I found them in the thrift store. So
God damn it! It's always the thrift store finds that are just like you cannot replicate it. Something like that is too special to be shared. I have one that just says I got at a thrift store. It says "High on Life." And this is in like just real colorful bubble letters.
Okay.
And that one makes me feel happy when I wear it. But yeah, anything that can brighten someone's mood, I like wearing.
Definitely. Me and you both.
All right, I will let you hopefully get some rest in between this work. We'll be in touch soon, and when I send you the thing, just let me know if you can't open it, okay, or if you need something else.
Okay. I got you.
Cool. Sure. All right. Thanks again.
Thank you, brother. For sure. Indeed. Till next time.
We talk soon.
Yes, sir. Take care.
Bye.